Hi guys, Ramon Goose here. This is Coffee Chat, and this is where we just talk about some random subject, and I rant on, and then you can leave some comments if you agree or not. We're actually going to be doing a live stream tomorrow midday. When I say midday, that's kind of like American Central Time, so it'll be really great for you to tune in. And I've sorted out a few technical issues where I missed some of your questions last week, but this week I'm going to answer everybody's question. So let's get on with this video. So basically, it's like, how do you choose a piece of gear? And are YouTubers any good? You know, all of my gear choices are from, you know, artists or albums that have inspired me. So for example, one of my favourite tones ever, and bear in mind, I like everything from Howlin' Wolf, R.L. Burnside, John Spencer's Blues Explosion, you know, all of those cool bands. And El Hooker is another one, a favourite of mine. You know, so it doesn't have to be expensive gear. You know, El Hooker used some, you know, I think he used, I can't remember, no, Univox Les Paul custom copy. So it was a really, really cheap Japanese copy in the 60s. So you don't need expensive gear to get really cool tones, you know. But the guy I was into was Ron Ford at the time. And in 2001 he did a concert at New Morning, and it's on YouTube, and that for me was his pinnacle of his guitar sound, and it kind of put me on a journey, a very expensive journey to get his guitar tone. I managed to get an amplifier made for me in Sweden, which is what I'm playing through at the moment, and I got this amp 10 years ago. And it just had that kind of, that clean sound. So I could just tell the guitar maker, the amplifier maker, that's the sound I want, can you get that? And so he said, well, you know, I'll do my best. It was a little bit harder with the overdrive sound. Okay, so that was, you know, when I got the speakers, I was using Celestians at the time. I've since changed to Altec Lancing because now I want to be a bit unique. I've got the Rutherford sound, which I really was really into. And then I kind of wanted to be a bit unique. And I was sort of lucky because Free the Tone, I'm wearing the t-shirt because I owe a lot to those guys. They sent me a pedal called a Sov 2, which is my favourite pedal, and I've been using this for 10 years, you know. So on and so forth. You know, you can kind of hear that it's not going to get the sound of the amp, but it's a pretty good pedal, you know. So that really, that's the basis of my sound. And you know, I do use, say for example, I went to a concert last year, and this is another example. So that's one example where that's where I listen to YouTube. I listen to concerts, you know. Another example would be I went to Raikuda's concert, you know, in person, and I saw, I think it was this year or last year, I can't even remember. But it was the best guitar sound I'd ever heard. It was just absolutely amazing. And that kind of resulted in me searching, you know, sort of going on the internet, getting photos of his pedal board, and then I found out that he was using this pedal. I had to buy it in Japan, it was quite hard to find. It's discontinued, you know. And there was hardly any reviews. There was like a guy playing bass through it. That was the only YouTube thing. But I used YouTube just to see if there was any kind of sound clips, and then I realised, you know, it's better just to listen to Raikuda. And the same with this pedal here. This is actually quite a popular pedal, and there's loads of reviews on this pedal. And again, I started to watch some YouTubers do some reviews on this, and it was just like, it doesn't sound like Raikuda, you know, it's not, you know. And I literally watched 10 seconds of a YouTuber demoing this pedal, and it was just like, it was a rubbish. It was good, it was a great, you know, very good quality, nice playing, but, you know, it's Raikuda was really the influence and the inspiration for me to get this pedal. So this is what I want to come back to is try to use, it could be the solo, Dickie Betts solo in Stormy Monday on the Live at Fillmore East album. Maybe you got that on a vinyl, and that's the sound that, when you hear that sound, it's like, whoa, I want that tone, So you're going to go out and buy a Marshall 4x12 with Altec Lanson speakers, you're going to buy the 50 watt JP, whatever it's called, 45, whatever, or 50, can't remember which one I used, but you know what I mean. You're going to try and get that gear, and you may have to go on a YouTube video to see a boutique maker. Maybe you live in an apartment, you can't get the overdrive, so you need a pedal, and you want to see maybe a boutique maker's done a copy of a Governor pedal or a Marshall Bluesbreaker pedal, and you want to hear some demos, and okay, it's not using the same amp, it's not using the same guitar, but you're clever enough to kind of work that out, and it's a good reference. So that's kind of like a really good way to use YouTube, is to have an idea of your tone, your signal chain, and then you're using YouTube for a reference to get that. And that's what I do all the time. Maybe a tremolo that I want, and I don't, maybe it's a tremolo that I've heard of a certain artist that I love, but I'm going to use YouTube, maybe 4 or 5 different YouTubers, to give me an idea of the capabilities of that unit. And I think if you use YouTubers and YouTube demos like that, it's fantastic. I'm going to tell you now how not to use YouTube reviews, okay? There are some people that kind of become fanatics of YouTube videos, which is all well and good. That's fine, because you like the banter, you like the way people talk, And I've got a lot of great guys that watch my videos, and we become friends, like a little community. It's amazing. But I feel that some of these YouTubers, especially like, I'm not going to mention any names, but you can kind of guess. Some of these YouTubers run a shop, so they're basically selling, it's a window, the YouTube has become a window, which is all fine and well. But people are kind of becoming fans of these channels, and they're just buying everything that these guys demo. And I've been to their sites, I've been to their YouTube channels, and really they're playing, it's not inspiring. It's not on the same level as Raikuda's and your Dickie Betts. It's nowhere near as artistic, as inspiring. And it's like, why are you listening to these guys to tell you what gear to buy? Why are you doing that, guys? You should be listening to, bass players should be listening to Jaco Pastorius or Stanley Clark. Drummers should be listening to Jeff Pecoro, Vinnie Colaiuta, and us guitar players, we need to be listening to, Mike Stern, Pat Metheny, George Benson, Roy Buchanan, Rory Gallagher, Jimi Hendrix, so on and so forth. Whether you're into jazz, blues, rock, country, country, who the guys are. They're the guys that you want to be listening to. Check out their gear, and then you use us YouTubers as a reference to help you. Not where you're, becoming fans of YouTubers and whatever gear they're using, that's what you want to buy, Because maybe these YouTubers have got an angle, maybe they're getting a profit. I know for a fact some YouTubers, get 25 pedals, and they do a demo on their channel, and then they get a cut of those 25 pedals. And they probably hate that pedal. They probably think that pedal really sucks. It's a really crap pedal. But they're making money off of it. So they're going to do a review, and they're going to say, it's brilliant, yeah, buy this pedal, So, you've got to think, what is their motive? And what I try and do in this channel is keep it real, give you the real deal. And I use gear that I've had for 10 years. I don't change it. Even Free the Tone. I'm going to show you this now, guys, because this is going to explain a lot. So this pedal here, this is a Free the Tone pedal, but it's not. It was actually made by Providence, and the guy that first made this pedal, when he was working for Providence, he designed this soft 2 pedal, but then he went and formed his own company called Free the Tone. And he sent me the new version of this pedal, but I didn't like it. I didn't like it as much as this version. So I'm still using the Providence version. It's not a Free the Tone pedal. He's now since taken that name to his new company. But I'm not going to change up this pedal just because, I need to for whatever reason, because I'd much rather that Yuki from Free the Tone thinks that I really like the gear and I really use it for the right reasons. So that's why I'm using the Providence version, because it was, for me, it's my favourite version, and I'm not going to change up just because, you know, it would be better for Free the Tone if I use the Free the Tone version. No, I'm going to use this. But the Free the Tone version is similar, but it's not as good as this one. This is the original one. So what I'm saying to you guys is, you know, try to be true to your kind of mission. You know, what is it? What's inspiring you? What artists are you into? Jimi Hendrix, whatever. And then use the YouTubers as a reference guide. Don't get into them. Don't become disciples of their gear choices, you know, because they're the same as you. A lot of these guys are exactly the same as you. They know as much about pedals and gear as you do. You know, maybe you've got more experience than they have. You know, you probably have. You guys probably know more than some of these YouTubers do, you know. So trust your instincts, and, you know, try to always go to the artist, be inspired by the artist. Let them be the main sort of source of your sort of you know, your inspiration and where you're heading towards with your gear. And in the meantime, I'm going to see you tomorrow, hopefully, at the live stream. If you've got any questions, or sure, we've got loads of subjects to talk about. But in the meantime, take care and see you soon. Thanks.